Hello and welcome to Tall Tales
And Short Stories with Tim and Tony.
He is Tim, I'm Tony. And this is, I guess, going to be our first real episode.
Yeah, we tried last time. It was an experiment, and I think we may have this figured out.
Also had a different name, so that doesn't get revealed.
Yeah, so we got Tall and Short, which is appropriate for a couple of reasons. Tall tales, short stories, folklore, legends, myths, and more.
Yep.
And also, Tony's 6'4" and I'm 5'6". So, it works that way too well.
Oh, meta layers. So, what are we going to talk about in our inaugural episode?
Well, in our inaugural episode, we're going to talk about the portals to hell.
Alrighty.
And what sets up a portal to hell.
And what our opinions are of that whole, I guess, the whole metaphor of it, I guess.
Pretty much. Something like that. The metaphor, story. Because noted, Tony and I are both skeptical in a lot of this type of stuff.
Yeah.
But a lot of this stuff is very fascinating to us just because it's permeated through time, like centuries, millennia.
And us being history majors, both in college, we have a panache for that kind of thing.
Pretty much.
So, but I guess I'll let you kick it off with your first story, since I still need to study on mine.
All right.
Totally professional, I swear.
Oh, absolutely. We are 100% professional. 100% professional podcast. Alrighty, well, we're going to actually travel back to where a bunch of spooky stuff has always been talked about. Transylvania. Well, what was once Transylvania, now Romania. Deep in the northern wilds of Romania, in what was once Transylvania, there lies a forest to the west of Cluj-Napoca, the fourth most populous city within Romania. The forest is the infamous Hoia Forest. While seemingly benign tourist and recreational area where attendees can hike and bike throughout the woods and trails, beside this seemingly idyllic forest, there may hold something much more sinister. Within its warped skeletal-looking trees, twisting, turning, and spiraling above all who enter it, they almost seem to be gripping claws of some monstrous predator waiting to ensnare their next prey. Once setting foot into the forest, there's almost an unsettling silence, as if the rest of the world didn't exist, and you were the only one left alive. Beside the skeletal trees of the forest, there's also a large oval opening, shaped area which is barren of trees, simply called the clearing. Nothing grows there, nothing ever has grown there, minus your standard short, dead grass. Soil scientists, witches, paranormal investigators, and even sword-wielding Americans have been baffled by the clearing.
Because, of course, the Americans would bring weapons.
It's the American way, damn it.
Jesus.
Arguably, the clearing is the main entryway of this portal to hell, which we actually don't specify what a portal to hell conjugates. To us, a portal to hell is a location that is heavily supernatural with paranormal activity, mostly leaning towards the demonic. Sure, you got your ghosts and haunted houses and poltergeists and that sort of stuff, but a portal to hell has a lot more heavy energy, a lot of negativity to it that really, really, really focuses on near demonic. What's a good word here? Presence, there we go. Demonic presence.
And honestly, that's a little surprising for me to hear that's what you interpret it as. Mm-hmm. Because you're very much more the skeptic than I am on that scale. And for my interpretation of a portal to hell, I'm using the logic part of your brain, and it's literally like a hole in the ground or something that our ancestors from, the 1500s and all the way back to when we first started gain sentience is just a big hole in the ground that looks scary.
All right, so
I went quite literally, like it's just a hole in the ground, and you went completely off character to what I was going to guess you were going to think of. So I find that interesting that you took that route with it.
That's how I've always thought of it, honestly. Just because, that's just how I thought of it.
Yeah.
That's how I've been for years. But back to it. The clearing may be the main entryway to this portal to hell in Romania, especially since locals have allegedly seen cultists try to unlock some kind of doorway here.
What, with like a key or...
Oh, like a big old ceremony and There's a big welcome sign that says, "Welcome, Satan."
Well, I mean, who doesn't have that on their front door? Like, honestly.
We don't. We got go away.
That's fair. That's fair.
Not only does the most paranormal activity happen within the clearing, which it ranges from light touching, scratching, your basic small-time ghost stuff, to much more malicious things like unseen forces physically pushing and pulling across the entirety of the clearing. Such as when we saw the show Destination Truth way back in the day.
Yeah.
There was a cameraman there who sat in the middle of the circle of the clearing and just got wrenched all the way to the tree edge.
And how big is that?
Clearing? It's a fairly good-sized clearing. I did not get a good look up the numbers. I saw footage of it, but it's about a good-sized pasture, I want to say.
Yeah, like, it's not like a small thing. Like, I know it's like at least a baseball diamond, like
roughly. And it's an oval shape that has nothing growing there, and it just looks so strange amongst the rest of the forest.
Yeah.
Besides I'm losing my ability to talk. Besides the just physical activity that occurs to people who visit the area, electronic devices like cell phones also begin to malfunction and lose signal, which may either be spook-related or just the fact that it's in the middle of a forest. I mean, have you ever hiked in a forest? Your cell phone is not going to have a signal.
Have you ever gone to any small town?
You and I are both from a small town.
Exactly.
From small towns. We both know what it's like. You barely get anything. Like T-Mobile, Tom was like, we're all over the nation. But then you look at the map, it's like, my hometown's not there.
Shout out to T-Mobile for our sponsorships.
No, please don't sue us, T-Mobile. I'm just saying. Alrighty. But then throughout the rest of the forest, visitors also mention the usual symptoms of an alleged haunted location. You know, nausea, anxiety, and then that age-old, dreaded feeling of being watched by something that just isn't there.
Yeah.
Visitors also seem to witness shadowy figures, ghosts dressed in all white. Even several UFOs have occurred around the clearing. Or at least sightings of these things. Back in 1968, there was a farmer who said this happened to him, but he was silenced by the communist regime at the time. He had nothing to gain, yet everything to lose, and was eventually just silenced by the communist government.
Yeah.
Even stranger stories include a young girl who vanished for 5 years inside of the Hoya forest. 5 years.
Jeez.
She then reemerged without a clue of what happened, as if nothing happened to her.
Was she like, I can't imagine like just walking back out and being like, hey guys, what's up?
Sort of almost like, it was almost like a Rip Van Winkle sort of situation, I would argue.
Like I think that's terrifying.
Oh yeah. Like she lost 5 years of her life.
Jesus.
Half a decade.
Yeah.
And then many locals are scared to go into this forest. And they call many visitors who want to come check it out crazy for willing to investigate it.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Granted, the area is in what was once Transylvania and is now Romania, which has a massive history of spooky things going on, from vampires to zombies, strigoi, everything that goes bump in the night usually happens in
Middle
Romania.
Eastern Europe.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of the most terrifying places to live in, I think, if you're into the supernatural or anything. Like, they have everything, and it goes back to the birth of time.
Pretty much.
That's a horrifying place to live.
Which, when you think about it, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, Romania is a very forested area. Mm-hmm. There's always the occasional wolf howl, the just snap of a branch, what's going on. You don't know.
Yeah.
So these stories came up, and people just started telling them throughout time and time.
Yeah. And I've been looking up pictures of this place while you've been talking, and absolutely not.
Those trees are creepy, aren't they? They're legitimate, like little skeletal hands.
It makes me think of The Legend of Sleepy Hollow from 1999.
Yeah.
And then, horrifyingly enough, it makes me think of Ash vs. Evil Dead.
Oh, yes.
Oh.
It really does.
Yeah. No. Just say no to those trees.
Oh, absolutely.
Wow.
But yeah, that is the Oya Forest, located in Romania.
Well, sticking with my sort of more based in reality portals to hell, I found this place in almost slap middle of Turkmenistan, and it isn't supernatural or anything. It's just terrifying to look at. It's called the Darvaza Gas Crater. It's in the middle of the Karakum Desert, like I said, in Turkmenistan. And it is a natural gas crater that, not imploded, but caved in on itself when Russians were digging up to supply, obviously, more natural gas for their whatever their thing is that they need supplied.
Of course.
Whatever military compound they have going on.
Ooh, that thing is terrifying.
Yeah, like if I thought Portal to Hell, fire, brimstone, all that, that's what comes to mind.
Oh, easily.
It's almost 160 miles north of Ashgabat, the capital of Turkmenistan. It's about 230 foot wide hole in the ground, or 230 foot by 200 foot. So it's a pretty decent sized thing. And it goes about 70 feet down to the current, because it's always sort of caving in, because it's all the gravel and all the dirt and sand, everything that's fallen in with it. But it was started, the site was identified in 1971 by the Soviets and by the USSR. It was going to be what they thought to believe a amazing oil field site to supply, their fleet of vehicles during the Cold War. And then during the 1980s, everything sort of fell apart on them. And this hole's been burning since then. Like, it's been burning for almost 50 years now.
Yeah.
Nonstop.
Everything always falls for the Soviets.
Of course. Walls, holes. And as of January 2022, there's a commission that's been tasked with finding a solution for extinguishing the gas burn.
Oh, Lord.
Like, at this point, it's actually become a tourist attraction. Like, people will go out, fly to Turkmenistan, take buses and vehicles out to this giant hole in the ground, and take pictures of it. There's nothing supernatural about it. It's just, to me, I think it's immensely interesting because it looks so cool to me.
It looks so cool, but you know what that is? That's a fire hazard. That is an absolute fire hazard.
Well, just don't bring it indoors with you then. Don't bring the 230-foot hole inside with you, and it's not a burning hazard.
That would encase my entire building. It would encase my neighborhood.
That sounds like a personal problem.
Ah.
But yeah, it's a very simple, basic crater of fire, and it's even been involved in the Godzilla movies, the reboots that they did back in 2014.
Really?
They had it, obviously they edited it and made it more theatrical for their purpose, but it was supposed to be a site from where one of the monsters, one of the kaijus, came out of the ground.
Oh, okay.
So, in theatrical form, it's very much a portal to hell because they unleash a giant monster.
That does make a lot of sense.
But other than that, yeah, it's just a really cool geological anomaly that has been going on for half a century now. So, nothing crazy about it. I just thought it was really cool. Not a whole lot to it. It's pretty straightforward.
Oh, yeah. That place did look really cool, and I did see tourist photos, like people, they were in jackets and everything, because it even gets cold out there in Turkmenistan.
Oh, yeah.
And they're just like, oh, yeah, hey, check it out. It's a giant portal to hell.
Yeah. And, yeah, I mean, that's what better way to get some tourist money than advertising you have a portal to hell in the middle of your desert.
That'll do it.
But yeah, the only other thing I could really find on it is the only supernatural, scary, meta-government sort of thing is that there's theories that geologists from the USSR actually intentionally lit it on fire to prevent a spread of methane gas. So they sort of shot themselves in the foot to prevent shooting themselves in the other foot.
So the Russians screwed the Russians? Huh.
Interesting,
That
right?
doesn't happen in history at all.
Ever. Someone was drinking too much potato vodka.
Oh, easily.
But then you mentioned a castle in Ireland.
Yep, Leap Castle.
Yeah. That place, and I've been to Ireland, and I don't remember ever hearing about it. We went to more the touristy trap kind of,
Yeah.
Blarney Stone.
You went to like Dublin and that sort of thing. Was it all south? Was it all south? No, no north.
Yeah, we didn't touch the north because they were still dealing with
the
geopolitical climate up there.
Oh man, yeah, that's rough. That was a rough time.
But yeah, this castle is really interesting. It was built in the early 1200s by the O'Bannon clan.
Yep.
And then I guess in the late 1400s, almost 1500s, it changed hands to the violent and deadly O'Carroll clan. So yeah, this place has changed hands multitudes of times, but to sort of stay on point with the portals to hell and the supernatural end of it, ghost sightings and poltergeist activity and all sorts of crazy stuff. And then I'll let you hit on this if you want, but elementals.
Oh yeah, let's also not forget the oubliette inside of the castle.
Kenzutite.
Yeah, you know what an oubliette is?
No idea.
An oubliette is a type of dungeon where essentially it comes from the French word to forget. Quite literally, it was a one-door dungeon. You would be dropped down into it, like a pit, essentially, and forgotten. So, if you were sent there, it was a death sentence. You would die
Jesus.
a slow, painful starvation or dehydration. You would lose your mind, and then eventually you would die. They would just forget all about you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you win. Okay, I'm leaving. That, holy Christ, that's horrifying.
Dude. Those were done in a lot of castles. But, you mentioned an elemental, you say.
Yeah.
Yeah, elementals are mythic beings, mostly described in occult and alchemical works that appeared during the time of the European Renaissance. Yeah. And these things, you had different beings of, like, fire, earth, water. That was how it normally started. But this particular elemental that appears in Leap Castle is a lot more sinister.
Yeah.
But the creature that is known as the Elemental in Leap Castle is described as being the size of a sheep with a human face, black holes for eyes and a nose, and it gives off the smell of a rotting corpse. It is said to attack people who enter deep into the dungeons and actually stalks the grounds on the occasion.
Oh, so it has free reign of the entire... Okay, that's great.
Roughly, there's abouts, but it finds itself usually chilling out in the dungeon, more so than anything else.
The solo dungeon you fall into?
Oh, no, there's an actual dungeon beneath that.
Oh, okay.
The oubliette is just part of the dungeon.
This sounds like such a pleasant place to be.
Oh, absolutely. I'm surprised that it wasn't like a pig face or anything, because usually whenever there's like a demonic creature or anything...
Yeah, but it's Ireland, sheep.
Yeah, sheep, good point. But it's like there's always pig faces or anything. It's like the house at Amityville, the house in Amityville Horror, the demonic pig. It's always that sort of thing.
I have not watched that movie in forever.
Oh, man. My mother actually has a story about the Amityville Horror that was really funny. She read it when it first came out way back in the day. She didn't even finish it. And she had a friend of hers who was also reading it and didn't finish it, and she said she didn't finish it. And so my mom asked, so which part did you stop at? Her friend goes to the demonic pig. And my mom says, same place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. To have... How'd you describe the elemental? A sheep?
A sheep-sized being with a human face, holes for eyes and nose, almost like a skull, just wandering the castle.
So I'm just picturing like a sheep body with the wool and everything with a human skull on it. Like that's how I'm picturing that. And I mean, no.
It sounds creepy and weird looking, but apparently it's much more dangerous than that, just with how it attacks visitors who go into the castle.
Dear God, how does it attack people?
Oh, your standard, pushing, shoving, clawing, what they normally do. Drive people insane.
No.
Your standard ghosty hauntings.
I'm good. I mean, I think I like to think I have a strong stomach for paranormal stuff, but I draw the line at creepy sheep skull people things.
Oh yeah, big time.
And what even element is that? That's not water. That's not fire.
No, it's evil.
That's not an element.
Apparently
False
now.
advertisement. I'm gonna 1 star on this. It's terrible. False advertisement. Yeah, that's... Geez, oh, yeah, here's the murder hole.
Yep, told you.
Jesus. Yeah, some of these are just horrifying. Mm-hmm. Like, even if this was all just written up just to get people in for tourist trap stuff, someone had to really think up this stuff, and that's just as terrifying.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, this red lady always carries a dagger with her hand raised menacingly. I'm just thinking, like, Psycho, the shower scene.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Big time.
But, wow.
Yeah, she is a vengeful spirit, and you do not want to encounter her.
Who owns Leap Castle now? Musician Sean Ryan and his wife Anne.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea who that is.
They're Irish. They're like obviously they're Irish, but like they're more like
Thank you, Captain Obvious.
They're local Irish folk who now own the castle.
That is crazy. I mean, I'd want to visit it, but not with Skull Lamb.
Oh yeah,
roaming around. That should be our first T-shirt.
Skull Lamb.
Just a lamb body with a goofy human skull.
Skull sheep.
Skull sheep. Well, what else? Oh, I was going to talk about this Huska Castle. Jumping from one castle to another and jumping back to the far eastern Europe.
That's a long jump.
How about just 20 miles north of Prague in the Czech Republic is Huska Castle. Hauska Castle.
How do you spell that?
Houska.
Okay.
Now this one...
Huska Castle. Okay.
Checks all my books for Portal to Hell, and then also checks on some of yours, I believe, too. It's an early Gothic castle built in the second half of the 13th century, so the 1200s. So about the same time as your Leap Castle.
Yeah.
Was built by Bohemian ruler Ottokar II of Bohemia during his reign from 1253 to 78. And was designed as an administration center to basically manage the royal estates of his land and the surrounding areas.
Nice. I'm looking at the castle here. It doesn't look your standard castle with spires. It looks
like an administration building.
Yeah, almost like a house.
Yeah, just like a big, almost like a fancy office building.
Office building with a big courtyard in the middle. Wow.
Yeah. Later on, passed down to the hands of the aristocracy, I assume, after probably some civil war or revolt, or because castles do that.
Oh, yeah.
Was built in an area surrounded by forests, swamps, mountains, no external fortifications, like no palisades, no drawbridge, nothing. Nothing of a typical, stereotypical castle, because it was in the middle of nowhere, and it was an administration building, basically. Didn't even have a source of water like a river, a creek, a lake, anything. Just had a big cistern to collect rainwater.
It was just there.
Yeah, just there. And it was built into the side of a steep rocky cliff on one end of it.
Yeah, I saw that. I'm just like one wrong leap out a window.
Yeah.
And it's...
So, obviously, I love castles. I love breaking them down for the defense and why they were built, where they were built. But the real nail in the coffin for me was it was constructed, specifically the chapel of the castle was built over a large hole in the ground that people of that era called the Gateway to Hell.
Interesting.
It was allegedly so deep no one could see the bottom of it, and I've looked up videos, and yeah, if you're just looking straight down it, you can't see the bottom.
I looked up some videos. That looks terrifying.
Yeah. That makes your Leap Castle murder hole seem fun.
Like that is an absolute oubliette. Forget you're going to be dropping a bunch of dead bodies.
Yeah. Give a little bit more history before I hit the folklore and the lore behind it. During World War II, the Weimaracht, World War II Nazis.
Oh yeah, the Wehrmacht.
Wehrmacht occupied the castle until 1945. Of course, the Nazis, being Nazis, allegedly conducted experiments into the occult.
Oh, God, not them again.
Mm-hmm. They were trying to make Hellboy. No big deal. Sources were stating that locals believe the Nazis had been using the powers of hell for their experiments.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Thule Society, man. We'll have to worry about that sometime.
Oh, that's a whole episode, I'm sure.
We'll have plenty for that.
Yeah. But, so to touch on the lore, back in the day, rulers of the castle, I think it was after the Ottokar II, but the aristocracy and princes and whoever was in control of the area at the time, offered people, prisoners specifically, basically get out of jail card, which back in that day, fantastic.
Oh, easily.
But here's the catch. You have to be lowered into the hole. And you have to report back what's at the bottom. There were reports that prisoners that would go down there would see dark-winged, otherworldly creature, stereotypical flying demons, imps sort of thing. Animal-human hybrids.
Okay, creepy.
Yeah. When the first person that was lowered in there, he became screaming after a few seconds. And he was supposedly he was like in his late 20s, early 30s. When he was pulled back to the surface, looked like he had doubled his age and his hair was grayed.
Wow.
Like white shock.
Oh, wow. You gotta get really scared by something that does not comprehend reality to have that happen.
And here, I know you're going to love this list.
Uh-oh.
I'll kick it off with your favorite thing in the whole world.
Oh.
The castle's reputed to have various types of ghosts. Of course. A bullfrog human creature.
God, no.
Yeah.
Nope. That is a no.
So, for viewers, Tim hates frogs and toads.
That's oh, God.
An absolutely terrifying, I've seen him go stiff as a board.
They are my snakes. They are my snakes, my bats, what everyone else is scared of. They're my snakes and my spiders, toads and frogs. I see one, I will go pale white, and you will see me run the opposite direction. There will be a Tim-shaped cloud of smoke, and I will be 30 feet away, just like, hey, get rid of it, can't ya? Just... I do not do those at all. That makes my skin crawl. There's like a frog demon over there. Great.
A headless horse.
Kind of missing the rider on that one.
Right. And an old woman ghost, I assume.
There's always the old maiden. There's always the old matron ghost. There's always an
old woman in Romania with foreboding finger pointing.
Oh, yeah, that's the worst one where she's just staring at you with those cold eyes.
One's off to one eye, or one off. One eye's in one direction, the other's staring at you. You're like...
Or they're both... Or if it's a ghost lady, they're both just holes where eyes should be staring at you. That's even creepier.
And then also, the best part, reports of demonic beast remains who escaped the pit.
Oh, no.
So, there's a lot of stuff to break down on that castle.
Oh, no kidding. That'd be cool to see a demonic skull. Like, hey, check it out.
That would be the bullfrog human thing.
Now
I might have picked this castle for that.
You looked at that and goes, oh, his skin's gonna crawl.
Tim is gonna love this.
Yeah, I'm not gonna go there now. I'm not gonna go there. I think I wasn't gonna go there anyway, but now I'm not really gonna go there.
But in pop culture, it's been obviously in ghost shows. Legendary Locations was a show on the Travel Channel that it was highlighted on. Ghost Hunters International, Most Haunted Live, and it was even in a Doctor Who graphic novel.
It doesn't surprise me.
Or it was, the folklore itself was the basis for the novel, so...
That still doesn't surprise me. Doctor Who got into a lot.
But yeah, it's just... And there are defenses to this castle. Despite what I said, there's no external defenses.
They're all internal, huh?
They're all internal, and they all point towards the pit.
Ugh.
So, there's either... I mean, there had to have been something down, like, even from a skeptical standpoint...
Something was down there.
Like, at the very least, that was a massive bat cave.
Oh, yeah. Something had to have been down there that they built around it, and... Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah, looking at the castle itself, I mean, that is just...
It's a gorgeous-looking castle.
Yeah, it really is. Like, I'd love to visit it, but I'm not sure I'd go towards the pit at all.
But it doesn't... The thing is, again, it doesn't look like a standard castle. It doesn't...
No.
Because it doesn't have the keep. It doesn't have the walls. It's got a lot of cool antlers there in the main room.
Yeah.
One of the big rooms.
And it's a fully furnished castle. Like, it was built to house
It kind of reminds me of like an old-time hunting lodge.
Yeah.
Like for a king's hunting lodge. Because he's not just going to be like a little cabin in the woods. He's going to have like a whole castle with staff out there.
Yeah.
And all the antlers in what looks like the dining hall, or they used to be the dining hall, just there lining saying, "These are my kills. Look at this."
Yeah. And so I thought that was a really cool place because it did sort of touch on what qualifies for me, and then I know it would at least interest you, if not terrify you, with the Bullfrog Man.
The Bullfrog Man. I'm not even going to look that up.
So is it like a toad from the top up or down?
What would be worse for me is like a bipedal frog.
Just like the cartoon or the Warner Brothers frog that "Hello, my baby."
Yeah, like that.
But my size.
Yes. Yeah, you're 6'4", a 6'4" frog. That I can already see that. It walks like a human, but it also still does a squat thing like a frog and a toad. And it still hops. And the thing is, one good hop and it's on you.
Yeah.
And if you've ever seen the way those things have their mouths, that thing will just swallow you whole. Like, you won't even get a chance to... It'll open its up its mouth like Jabba the Hutt. Just...
Ooga dooga.
Ooga dooga solo.
Oh, God. Okay, so we've touched on 2 castles, a natural gas pit, and a forest. Mm-hmm. Which one of the... I mean, if you had to go to one of those...
If I had to go to one of those, I would...
And here, I'll give you a caveat. You have to spend the night.
Ah, crap.
Mm-hmm.
I would not do the castles, because the elemental, I'm a skeptic, but it's also like, I don't want to be scared shitless.
Yeah.
That's the first thing, and the elemental is good at doing that. I would say no, obviously, to the castle with Romania, because the frog person... It doesn't matter if the thing may be dead now. There's still a... No, I'm not going to go there. I don't want to
But then you have a bullfrog human ghost.
Oh, it's even worse, because then you can't kill it. You just got to deal with it sitting there looking at you, wanting to eat you with its unblinking big bug eyes. Okay, you got my skin crawling, dude. I'd have to go with the Oyabachu forest, with the Oya forest. I'd have to go there. I would suffer that one.
Suffer through.
I would suffer through.
I think I would probably do the castle in the Horska.
You do the castle in the Czech Republic.
Yeah,
huh?
the Czech Republic castle.
Okay.
Because at least I'm inside.
I still wouldn't. No, I'd be inside, but you know me, I don't like camping. I don't like going out in the wilderness. So me saying I'm going to go to the forest is saying something.
I'm kind of surprised neither of us went for the obvious safe choice of the gas pit.
Oh yeah, nothing like, oh, did you fart? No, that's the methane pit over there.
Yeah, no, that's the methane pit. We've probably cut like 20 years off our life so far just by standing here, but you know.
Yeah, 8 hours later. Oh yeah, no, we're going to find ourselves at least dying at 50. It's okay.
Yeah, no. I mean, if I had to go there, yeah, it'd probably be one of the castles, but no, none of those places sound fun.
Absolutely none of those.
The closest I've been is I've stayed most of the night in a little supposedly haunted place in my hometown, and I was good. The humidity was enough to kill you.
I can imagine.
I mean, it wasn't even the supposed ghost. It was just the humidity was 1,000,000% inside.
Yeah.
Because, you know, Oklahoma, August, that's a perfect time to go in a building with no AC.
Oh, yeah. Especially if that building might be old and dilapidated.
Yeah, which it is.
Great.
Trying to think, what else should we cover before we cover our big topic that you discovered? I can't think of anything else that was really...
Nothing that stood out. I mean, what we got, we could just hop right into it.
You want to just hop into it?
Yeah, I mean...
Like a bullfrog?
You just waiting for that one. Yeah, we got we're almost 37 minutes in, so let's hop on into this one.
Okay.
This one is going to hit a little closer to home for both you and I, Tony. Mm-hmm. Oklahoma, which is where we are both from.
What?
Yeah, Oklahoma certainly has its fair share of ghost stories and strange happenings that go on throughout the state.
I mean,
there's like from my hometown, there were a couple of places that were allegedly haunted. You know, like this big mansion on a hill. Yeah. People were like, oh yeah, no, it's haunted. Don't go in there. I never went in. Yeah. It wasn't my thing. You had a couple places.
Yeah, we had a old Army Reserve armory in my hometown, and then the town I lived in before that, our graveyard supposedly haunted out there. So
most graveyards are allegedly haunted anyway. Like even the one at my, even the ones at my hometown.
Yeah.
But this next location, I gotta say, reading about it actually gave me the spooks, and it's not too far from us. We're going to talk about the Purple Church of Spencer, Oklahoma.
Ugh.
Oh yeah. If you travel up I-35 in central OKC and you hang a right to go east on US 62, you'll find yourself in Spencer, Oklahoma, which I actually looked where it was at. Spencer is actually still within OKC.
Yeah.
It's a city within a city.
I actually got my motorcycle endorsement license at that tag agency.
Nice.
So
yeah, it's a city within a city because OKC has such a large city limit.
Yeah.
I think it's like number 10. You can fit a lot of the major cities like Manhattan and a couple others just inside of OKC alone.
Yeah.
Because of how big the city limit is.
Yeah.
And so Spencer is not a big city, as you've been there. It's actually a quaint little town of just under 4,000 people.
A little on the shady side.
Yeah, because it's over in that part of Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And it gets a little woodsy out there because the further east you go in Oklahoma, the more trees there are, the more wooded areas there are. I'm from the western part where it's a lot more open fields and hills.
Yeah.
Not a lot of trees.
And I was raised in sort of the south central side of Oklahoma, so we had a little bit of trees, but I was sort of on the same page as you. I was more flat plain area.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't live far from Spencer at all.
Mm-hmm.
I'm less than 5 miles away, I think.
Yeah. And just north of Spencer lies a haunted, or even further, demonic location. You gotta drive up Douglas Avenue until it becomes Wilshire, which is not that much.
No.
I looked it up. I found where Douglas is, and there's a nice turn that it becomes Wilshire, easily.
Driven around that curve many times, actually.
And up there, you'll see a road that becomes pretty ominous and creepy looking. Like the trees are just starting to grow over, almost making a tunnel.
Tunnel vision.
Yeah. Now, this location, called the Purple Church, is in fact on private properties, which is under heavy surveillance, like cameras up and owners who patrol the area. So if you want to go check it out, you gotta have permission first.
Yeah, and if we ever get any viewers,
well, listeners in this case,
regulation listeners, if you're from out of state or even out of country, Oklahomans don't mess around with private property stuff.
Oh yeah, no. If you trespass on any private property, there is no warning shot.
No.
You are at and they're gonna say
the warning shot you get is if they miss.
Yeah, that's if they miss you. So do not ever get on anybody's land without their permission. That is a big time deal because they will take matters into their own hands first before calling the police.
Yeah, they will call the police to report a dead body. And I can attest to that. I used to live on a ranch with very valuable cattle.
Mm-hmm.
I have actually had to point guns at vehicles on my driveway, and they've turned around.
Yep.
So yeah, Oklahomans, Texans, the whole Midwest of America,
Midwest and South,
yeah, they don't mess around with that law, and they will gladly enforce it themselves. So,
oh yeah.
If you want to take a trip to the Purple Church like I do now after reading.
But we're going to get into it more. This is going to get good. So, once you get to the gate, you get to the first gate, which looks like your standard bar gate, just a long bar with a little, like a support. You know what I'm talking about? A standard
triangle shape sort of thing.
Yeah, nothing major, nothing crazy. Once you you park nearby it, and then you walk the rest of the way. You gotta hoof it there, because you're not gonna get there by car.
No.
So then, and you make it through the trees and the brush along the trail, which also starts to look a bit more decrepit, and eventually you come across the remains of the Purple Church. Now, the church, it used to be an actual building, but there's some speculation whether it was a house or if it was an actual church. Either way, the building was destroyed and demolished, either by a fire or by the city saying, all right, we're just going to get rid of, or, whoever owns the property, they decided, oh, we'll just get rid of the building. Either way, the building is no longer there, and all that remains is the concrete foundation slab and the basement, which is adorned with purple satanic symbols, like pentagrams, that were spray painted on the entrance of the basement as well as the walls and floors, hence why it is called the Purple Church.
Yeah.
And I've seen some pictures of this place. It is out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm looking at some of these pictures, and it looks like they're terrible pictures. They look like Blair Witch Project screenshots.
They're that level.
They're grainy, they're awful, but
it's setting a mood. It is absolutely setting a vibe on this. Now, the overall location really does feel unsettling just looking at the photos because it's isolated, it's quiet, and there's a supposed demonic or evil presence that lurks about. Either likely from some actual hardcore theistic Satanists, these are the ones that actually want to sacrifice things for the Dark Lord, because most actual Satanists
well,
are
same thing.
most actual Satanists are just atheists who are making fun of the Catholic Church.
Yeah. The Satan, I've seen a few documentaries about the Satanism that is in pop culture.
Yeah.
And then the Satanism that's in actual culture and is in actual church and thought process. Two different camps entirely.
Oh, highly.
That's like Star Wars, Star Trek.
Oh yeah, big time.
Like
the hardcore theistic Satanists are definitely ones we would have anybody has to worry about.
They're the cloak and dagger guys.
Oh yeah, they're big time. And even further, or there may even have been malicious witches who perform sacrifices and rituals within the basement of this building.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, that's still creepy to when you think about, the building used to be there, now it's just this concrete basement. Like, oof.
And that alone is creepy, because if you're just hiking in the woods and you stumble across that...
That's some Jeepers Creepers level stuff there when you think about it.
And I'm looking, they have a picture on this site that I found that it's a screen, or someone took a picture of it, and they have their flash on their camera, and it doesn't look like it's a big room. It looks like it's 10 by 10 foot, like it's not big at all.
Which is about the size of this, which is a little smaller than this room we're in.
Yeah.
So which makes it that was probably, since it is Oklahoma, a tornado shelter.
Yeah.
That was definitely a cellar to protect against the tornadoes.
Yeah. And that's, thinking about it, like,
because when you look
that's definitely not big enough for a church.
No,
I wouldn't think.
Because when you look at it, it probably was a small church too.
Yeah.
Like one of those old style,
one room. Old school ones.
One room, like only 30 people go there. Because you can huddle about 30 people, and 30 people, maybe a little more, inside of a 10 foot by 10 foot.
Yeah, and then Spencer was an incredibly small town.
Until...
Even today, it's still not huge by population count.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's very possible. It could have been a church. It could have just been someone's storm shelter. Or it could have been a communal one, even.
We don't even know. Because the building is not there, and there's no clear... time and date of what was actually there or when it burned down. We don't know. Like, it just was not in public record.
Yeah.
But and even further on this, though, people who managed to visit the location talk about being touched and scratched, as well as hearing noises and sounds that seem to come from nowhere and everywhere.
All at once.
Oh, yeah. Even the occasional shadow being, which those are pretty creepy to me. Shadow beings.
That's a creepy concept to have lurking behind you.
But here we go further to make it even creepier. Besides the unseen forces, though, visitors and trespassers have also been scared off by robed figures and landowners and neighbors with guns. Shotguns and dogs, to be specific.
Yep.
Who patrol the area. And these same people have also witnessed dead animals, like horses and dogs, as well as animal bones being scattered around the area, as if they were sacrificed or used in another dark ritual.
Yeah.
Yeah, I usually don't spook easy. I usually don't. But the photos, the stories, this made me go, it's definitely creepy. I don't want to go there. But in the same regards, if this were real, because people have talked about like feeling a heavy presence when you go down into the basement. Like we're talking bad air. Big time.
Like, sort of that pungent...
That
dead smell.
Oh yeah, smell of death, heavy air, just like legitimately you could suffocate.
Yeah. And that's, ugh, Christ, that's horrifying.
Oh yeah, it is not a fun place to go. I didn't realize I was even in Oklahoma.
Yeah, I've lived near Spencer, and I've been through Spencer countless times, whether it be lived near it, gone through it for work, I mean, just traveled through. I've never heard of this place.
Neither.
So actually, I'm looking it up. The Chesapeake Energy Company actually owns the property now. And there's rumors back, all the way back to 2006, there are rumors spread that the structure was filled in to negate all people like us that want to go there.
Actually, even further enough, I actually watched a video about this. Not even just about that, but it is in Spencer, and it's a small town in Oklahoma. What do a bunch of small town high schoolers go do? Mm-hmm. It's legitimately like go up and ring Old Man Johnson's doorbell.
Yeah, it's I dare you go in that.
Yeah, that's legitimately, and there actually have been teenagers who got caught by either police or the landowners or the landowners' neighbors.
Yep.
With their dogs and shotguns, and said, "All right, and they got in trouble for it, but that's just kids being kids. It's kids being stupid."
So to touch on the teenagers doing this stuff, the first alleged use of this of this property for satanic rituals, was by a teenager.
Oh yeah, 16-year-old Satanist who killed his parents
and a store clerk.
Ah boy.
I don't know if we can say the name of him, but if you look it up, I mean, if you type in Purple Church, Spencer, Oklahoma, you'll find everything.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, that mixed with the tenaciously defensive people, the robe wearing.
Oh yeah,
lunatic. I mean,
I actually did read some YouTube comments on videos I found about the Purple Church, and people talked about their experiences, how they went there, they got found out by these people with guns, and they said something was wrong with them, like their eyes were there, but they almost like nothing was behind them.
Yeah, almost like I don't want to say a possessed look, but
something was just off about these people.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, looking through more of these pictures, I mean, it's just so nonchalant. It just looks like it leads out to someone's old property.
Yep. But then you get past it, and it's like, okay, the air's getting heavy.
Yeah, I mean, it's surrounded by a bunch of tall, skinny, dead-looking trees.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, then all the graffiti that's on there, the purple symbols, all sorts of dead animal carcasses and bones.
Big time.
I mean, I've seen cow bones and all sorts of bones living out in the middle of nowhere on a ranch, but...
Yeah, some of those even could have been just, like, animals that got, killed, like coyotes and bobcats. Just, doing what coyotes and bobcats do. They kill, they eat, and then whatever comes by, vultures, bugs, picks the bones clean.
Yeah.
And then, of course, like, there's people out there who have dogs and horses. Horses could have gotten old, dogs could have gotten old, and... Gotta take old Yeller out back.
Wait, how's that movie end? Spoilers. Yes. In Oklahoma, I mean, if I was to name the first 5 states in the U.S. that I would think of as haunted, Oklahoma doesn't even touch it.
Oh, yeah. Oklahoma just seems so mundane and almost boring.
Yeah.
But there's a lot more to it.
Yeah, what we lack in quantity, I think we make up for in quality.
I don't know.
Scary.
I don't know if you want to call a portal to hell quality, but
well, I mean, hey, come visit our portal to hell in the middle of a church.
Be sure to have permission first.
Right. Yeah, I kind of want to visit it.
I'd go in the daytime.
Oh, yeah, I'm not. No, hell no, not in the middle of the night.
No,
absolutely not.
No.
I wouldn't even go out on my property in the middle of the night. I mean, yeah, is that on my way home? Maybe I can make it.
Nah, it's well past your way home, buddy.
Damn it. That is crazy. I would love to try and get permission to go in there. That'd be crazy.
Oh, yeah.
And I would probably be so underwhelmed. I don't know. I mean, what would you said you'd visit in the middle of the day.
Oh, yeah. I would get permission. I would prefer to be with other people, too.
Yeah,
because
like
it's
5, 6 10 people.
Yeah, because I'm not going to go out there by myself, be like, investigate, and the next thing you know, where'd Tim go? Missing person, Tim, last seen going to check out Purple Church, and then
Missing mustache and person.
Then the locals are just going to go, yep, he went to the Purple Church. We told him not to go. Got the old man in the overalls, like, I told him not to go up there.
I was going to say, what's that actor's name?
Fred Gwynn.
Yeah, getting the Fred Gwynn vibe from it. Told him not to go there.
I told the road's bad.
Dad is better.
Oh, man.
Oh, God. That's...
Yeah, but that
I mean...
This certainly has been one heck of a spooky podcast.
I mean, there's a sign here that says, once you see the sign for blank blank sand and mining, you'll want to park alongside the road and walk the rest of the way.
I told you gotta hoof it.
That sign has shotgun shells blown through it, like...
Yeah, that's an indicator that...
And I'm gonna walk?
That's an indicator that you don't want to get out of your car.
No.
At all. You just keep on driving by. Do not go down that road.
No, absolutely. Oh.
And I even looked it up on a map. Like, I was looking up a
location,
Google Earth and Google Maps and everything.
I didn't even think about it.
And you can't really see the road, I think. But like, I did check it out, and I was just like, oh my god, it's out in the middle of nowhere. Just even looking at the gray of Google Maps, standard, nothing crazy, it was still pretty disorienting. Like, pretty creepy.
Yeah. Let's see if I can get this to actually work for me. What, you go to Earth or Google Maps? Or?
Google Maps.
Okay.
Well, he's looking that up. So this has definitely been one heck of an episode.
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed trying to creep you out with frogs.
You got me with a frog, but I got you with the oubliette.
Yeah, that...
I got you with that one. We're not always going to focus on, like, spooky stuff, because this is tall and short. We want to focus on myths, legends, stories. We'll even get into some true crime, because there's a lot that goes on there, too, that is just as equally fascinating.
Yeah. Yeah, this place is in the middle of absolutely nowhere.
Told you.
Wow.
Like, legitimately, it makes me think of going when I used to live around the eastern part of Oklahoma, just traveling around in the country. Mm-hmm. You got those trees growing up all over the place. You don't even know if something's going to come jumping out of there. And not even anything creepy like Bigfoot or whatever, like just a deer or something.
Yeah, oh yeah.
You don't know what's going to come flying out of those trees. They were that thick.
Yeah, and I mean, my hometown, we even had a little bit of a... I don't think there was anything really to it. It was probably just high schoolers being asshole high schoolers.
Yeah.
But we had this road that went from pavement to gravel to sand.
Oh, yeah.
Like, just over the course of like 5 miles, it turned into from one to the other to the next.
Yeah.
But we called it Purgatory because it was out in the middle. If you didn't know how to get there, you weren't getting there.
Ugh.
So I'm terrible at directions, so I just had to follow my buddies out there. They had to direct me.
Yeah.
But there was always people making jokes. Oh yeah, no, watch out! The property owners are come out after you with guns and their dogs and stuff. And then eventually that evolved into, oh yeah, no, there's ghosts out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm sure. But I mean, if you went out there at night, even if you were with 20 other high schoolers, all partying and drinking underage. Not that I ever did. I would never do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, I mean, even then, it was still because it went downhill and ended in, like, this little basin.
Yeah.
So it was still creepy because you were just surrounded by cliff walls.
Yeah, so you could easily have, like, people raining hell down upon you from the hilltops.
Yeah.
That's literally shooting fish in a barrel.
Yeah. Shooting drunk teenage.
Oof.
I feel like I'm writing a horror movie trope.
Yeah.
Drunk teenagers in the middle of nowhere. Oh my god, what'll happen next?
Way too common of a trope.
That is so crazy. And there's a Eastwick Stables there's a horse ranch.
Yeah, that's why I mentioned the horses earlier, because I didn't see that. So, and it's out in the middle of nowhere. Sometimes they might do that.
Yeah.
But anyway, hope everybody has enjoyed listening to some of these pretty spooky portals to hell.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was fun. What do you think our next episode?
Our next episode, huh?
Yeah.
We'll have to discuss about that and figure it out for the next time.
This has been Tall Tales and
Short stories.
with Tony and Tim.
Y'all have a good day.
Don't get killed by max murderers.